Donna Shalala is the president of the University of Miami, former Health and Human Services Secretary under President Clinton. It's great to see you today.
Thank you. I'm a Syracuse graduate, too.
I know. And in fact, when I was a student at Syracuse University, you came to the university to speak, and I saw you there. So I've been following your career for a long time. Now that you're in the role that you're in, and I know that this is one of many steps you've taken overseeing higher education, I just want to know, we've got all these states, the federal government, crunching the numbers and figuring out there's not a lot of money to go around, and they're slashing funding left and right. How does that affect higher education?
Well, it's particularly affecting middle-class families. The slashing of student loans that has occurred makes it much more difficult for middle-class families to send their children to higher education. And there's no question the students are getting more price-sensitive, but so is higher education. We understand that we have to slow down these tuition increases, that we have to have price and quality in the private sector in particular to be able to attract students. And we are concerned about the loan burden that so many of our students have. But higher education in the United States is still the best in the world. And there's no question that it's a powerful part of our economy.
Well, in Florida, I know, for instance, and you talk about the need to slow the rising tuition rates. So just looking at your particular state, it looks like the third year in a row, students are paying a 15% hike in tuition rates. I mean, you're talking about 45% over the space of 3 years. And it's a problem that's not just plaguing universities in your state. It's happening nationwide. Prices have more than doubled. Tuition prices have more than doubled over, say, 10 years. It's far outpacing inflation. It's far higher than housing, energy prices. So how do you manage that better?
Well, what's happened in Florida in the public sector in particular is Florida for years kept their costs down, which meant that families could afford to send their kids to college without borrowing for the most part. And Florida has a prepaid tuition program. It also took care of students who had very good grades, who could practically go to college free here. Florida, like many other states, can no longer afford that. And that's the reason for very high tuition increases. And it's hit middle-class families in particular very hard. We've been able to keep up the federal Pell Grants. This is also true of private universities. But our costs have gone up. We've passed those on. Many of us have cut down our administrative costs dramatically and are trying to keep our tuition down and finding other ways, jobs and other things that we can do to help our students. And of course, with the job market, there is a concern about ability to pay loans back. But there's no question that the higher education system in this country is still a very good deal.
And I know that it's a cycle, right? When there's fewer jobs, people say, well, I'll go back to school and improve my skills. In order to go back to school, you have to apply for the loans to pay for higher tuition rates. It's this cycle. So when you're out and you're fundraising, an important job for a chancellor or university president, and University of Miami, the first in Florida to raise more than $1 billion, how do you go about selling that to donors, saying, I know that you're in tough financial straits as well? Do you put aside the endowed professorships and the research symposia to just focus on, hey, help this kid finish their college education, let's put this money towards scholarships? Is that a more successful way of fundraising right now?
Well, you have to tell stories. There's no question that most of us are trying to find more money for need-based scholarships because we see our students in trouble. Their families, a family member loses a job, they lose their home, and all you can do is to appeal to those who are supporters of the university and make it very clear that this is the time to invest in the university. But there also we're in a funny situation because we have more applicants than we've ever had before. People go back to school to get more education during economic downturns, and it's our responsibility to make certain that we can help make that financially available to them. And there are alternatives in this country. There are 2-year colleges. There are 4-year public institutions. Yeah. There are private institutions like mine who provide a lot of scholarship money And our students are shrewd about that. It's not just in picking majors. They know they're going to have to be flexible in the jobs they take in the future.
Right.
So they're preparing themselves with double majors, triple majors.
University of Miami President Donna Shalala, also Syracuse University alumna. Good to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time.